Hey everyone, happy 2026. It's February. Can't believe time is flying, especially when you're having fun in real estate. It's Megan Wise and Peter Stewart.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Portfolio Profits Podcast. Here we are all about profits for our family and for you. So Peter, welcome. It's been about 6 weeks since I last saw you, and we have been busy, right?
Always busy.
Yeah. Tell me about your January 2026.
The quarter four and quarter one, typically in the investment space, which is what I focus on, is typically very busy. End of the year, because of tax reasons, typically a lot of people buying for tax purposes. In the beginning of the year, some of that spillover, the deals that did not close in December, but and a lot of people just, getting a start to the new year. If they have goals for buying X amount of properties that year, they want to, get started as soon as possible. So right now, well ahead of where we were in 2025. So off to a really good start so far.
Yeah. And I think that's a great message because most people go, oh, sales seasons is March through, June or July. And that's just not it anymore, right?
I get asked that on a daily basis about when is the best time to buy. And yeah, it's a completely different conversation with the retail buyer versus the investment buyer or seller. It is not seasonal whatsoever. Investors buy year round. A deal is a deal, regardless of if it comes on December 24th or, July 4th or whatever. Timing of the year really doesn't affect it at all.
No, but they are investor buyers and sellers are more motivated, obviously in quarter four, right?
They can be. Yeah. A lot of them, need to buy.
Finish up their goals for the investment year.
Finish up the goals. If they talk to their accountant and say, hey, you need to spend X amount of dollars to get write-offs and so on. So yeah, there's always like just a rush at the end of the year to get some property on the books.
And last year, let's talk about really quickly, 2025, you had a record year and I'm really proud of that. And I want to share it with the masses because I think it's something that, we don't really get to talk about, but because we're so future focused and we're so focused on clients, but I want to take a minute to recognize that you had beat your previous record goal. And it was more of just like helping people invest, buy and sell in Indy. Right?
Yeah, it was a record-setting year in a couple different ways, not only in terms of transactions, but volume of the transactions, and in terms of percentage of clients in the investment space. So typically, 80% of my clients are investors, and last year was 87%. So I had about a 10% increase there. And so far this year, it's 100% investors.
Yeah, and I think we talk about it a lot, and we're sharing the word that Indianapolis is one of the best places to invest in all of the United States. Right.
Obviously a little biased, but even if I take that out, I invest in other states as well. So I'm not specifically buying just in Indy. Of course, it's my home state. And yes, again, have some bias there, but it is objectively an excellent place to invest for a variety of reasons. So yeah, I'm not surprised that it's such a hot market for investors. And there are other people or other entities that are recognizing that. We end up on a lot of the top 10 places to invest. We were in 2025. We were in BiggerPockets, one of their hottest markets. We're in Zillow's hottest markets in 2025, and that's just continuing into this year.
We felt that hot market, and it's spilling over, obviously, into the new year. So you get to coach and train your clients on investments. That's part of what you do as being one of the top 10 elite BiggerPockets agents. So what that means is that the BiggerPockets Network, which is a national syndication that coaches and trains on investing, they have only 10 realtors across the nation that they say, this is the person that knows what they're talking about. This is the expert. And so we're really proud that Keller Williams Portfolio has Peter on our team because we all get to call him and say, hey, what about this? What about this? When we're dealing with our investors or even sharing our investor clients with you, which is super fun. So you're just a multifaceted realtor and investor owner. And it's just so thankful that you had take time out to come talk to us today. And I really want to dive into your own personal recent investing experience because it inspires me and I think it will inspire our audience. Is the last time we connected, you were talking about divesting your independent single family rentals and then upgrading into a multifamily space, and you did, which was killer. And then I think what we really need to focus on is when there needs to be a pivot, and how if you're with experts like us, if we can see a pivot coming, we can see a hiccup about to come, and then we bring in all the stakeholders, call the buyers, call the lenders, call the sellers, and say, hey, wait, maybe these numbers aren't crunching like we thought, right? And that's what happened with you on your own personal journey.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
Sure. So yeah, one of my favorite quotes is the famous one by Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And last year, as I was, executing my strategy of leveling up my portfolio, and I was in the middle of a 1031 exchange, I got punched right in the face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was an interesting process, but I learned a lot, and it ended up actually benefiting me in the end. Not only did I end up with a better property, but I learned a lot in the process as well, and just gained some additional valuable skills.
Quickly, you were purchasing in Michigan through help of some of our investment friends up there. You were purchasing a multifamily up there, and the numbers just started not crunching.
Yeah, so I was under contract on a 16-unit apartment building in Holly, Michigan, and during the due diligence phase, dug into the numbers, specifically insurance and taxes were not as advertised. And not only were they off from the OM, the basically offering memorandum, which is like the brochure that the seller's agent puts together to advertise the property, has all the information you need to make a general decision about whether or not to pursue that property. Those numbers on top of what the seller had given me were drastically off from what was presented. Turns out after I dug in, and it's a good thing, one of the things I did learn was to do your own due diligence, but don't take anyone's word for it on any of the numbers that you get in. What I mean, like property taxes as an example. Hey, the seller's paying X. Well, just because they're paying X doesn't mean that you are going to pay
zero. Yeah.
As an example, I called the tax assessor's office and spoke to the person who is going to be running the 2026 numbers or doing the tax assessments for all the properties. And I even got to the person in the commercial division, since it was a commercial property, talked to him directly about this specific property to get an estimation on what the taxes are going to be when I purchase it. Because in Michigan, they do taxes a little differently. They basically do what we call chasing the sale. So the taxes are based on what you bought the property for. A little different here in Indiana, and it's different in every state. Some states will literally reassess the property when it sells in the open market for that amount. It's very logical. You buy a property for $1 million, property's worth $1 million. Now your taxes are based on that $1 million. Indiana does not quite work that way, but in Michigan they do. And so we went over everything. It turns out that the estimated taxes were going to be about 3 times what they were advertised as. And then the insurance as well. So that's another great point, is I learned to, just because a person got an insurance quote, their policy is X dollars, doesn't mean that's what you're going to get as well. Not only does it's the same property, but on the individual side, things can vary as well. One example being experience. So if you don't have any other commercial properties, it's essentially the first policy you're going to get. That can factor into the amount you get. So, or if you have other policies, commercial policies with that company, similar, like if you have like a bundle, hey, I've got car and home insurance, you get that investment property with the same company, you might get a little discount. So the point is, the numbers that I was given on the insurance side were way off too. So ultimately it was about a $30K swing in the numbers, taking a cash positive investment into a negative one. So completely killed that deal. So I was able to get out. I was protected in that due diligence period. So I did a mutual release, and literally on the day before my 1031 45-day window ended, got under contract on a 12-unit here locally in Noblesville.
That's so crazy.
It really went down to the wire.
You did get punched in the face there.
Yes.
But sometimes you need that. We all do, because we think that journey was going to be so great. But you dived into the details and found out it wasn't. And you as an expert, an investor, someone who clients come to train and learn from, you yourself were going in a situation where you had to go do your due diligence and you couldn't trust anybody else in the stakeholding side.
And it ties into a bigger point that I try to make with my clients. A lot of them will ask me, like, are you going to run the numbers up front for me? Are you just going to hand it to me on a silver platter? And I say no. And it's not out of laziness, which a lot of people, that's kind of their knee-jerk reaction is, oh, you're too busy, you don't have the time to do that. And it's not that at all. With investment properties, you have to own the numbers. And the only way you're going to own those numbers is by researching them yourself. On the client side, I'm happy to review your numbers, to take a look at them, put my eyes on it, to tell you what I think. Are you missing something, estimating too high, too low, and so on? But I'm not going to run them for you. And I benefited from that. Had my agent that I was working with there just given me the numbers, they would have not done the level of due diligence that I'd done, and I would have gone off those numbers, and I'd be in a bad investment right now and I'd be stuck in a really tough spot, bleeding out money every month. Yeah. So because I own those numbers and I took the time to then investigate every single line item in detail, hear it for myself, I truly know them inside and out. So not only did it protect me, help me make a better investment, or at least a decision on that investment, but now I know what to look for in any subsequent property on the commercial side, because there's additional things that come into play on the commercial side versus your standard residential property as well.
And it's so neat that like we are always growing and learning and helping each other out so we can help our clients out, because you can have such better conversations now with your clients who are wanting to go into multifamily. You have this experience of saying, I did it myself.
It's hard to teach something when you don't know it, but experiencing it for yourself, going through it yourself is the ultimate learning process. I could read books all day long on investing, but until you actually do it, you actually go through it yourself, you're never truly going to learn it. And clients who work with me, of course, they're going to benefit from my knowledge. Don't make the same mistake twice. I stumbled through things, learn from me. We're not reinventing the wheel here. So why not take advantage of that knowledge and kind of get the fast track to success in a way, but just from a learning experience. So I can then pass that knowledge on to all my clients. So they just have, one more advantage and one less way things might go sideways during their process.
And I like that you brought up, because I do the same as well, is we want our clients to be beholden to their own numbers and to do their own due diligence, because we have to protect our own selves, and we have to know that we can understand the numbers, but we don't want to sell you an investment unless you truly understand it. So we are the same in terms of when we do have clients come to us, they want us to do the heavy lifting for them and they want that easy button, but that's a huge responsibility, which is why we are here at Keller Williams Portfolio and wanted to have a platform where people can come and learn alongside with us, do the numbers with us. We'll do the due diligence alongside of you, but we need your buy-in because it's your investment. We're hand-holding.
That's exactly it. That's what I tell everyone. It's your money. This is what you have to live with, not me. So yeah, you really want to truly own those numbers and understand them as well. Not only just get the correct number, but understand how that number came to be.
Yes. And we're here to help guide you and talk it out a million times and do it alongside you, but we're not going to do it for you, because that's not the right way to do it with investing. You have to understand it yourself. And it is hard to understand. You can't read books and podcasts, but you can come in and learn alongside of us and call Peter or myself. And we collabed a lot, and we have a lot of international and national clients that call almost daily still. And so it's just making sure if you want to have access to our knowledge and our handholding, we're here for you, but you got to put in your foot first too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a partnership to a degree, really we work alongside each other to get to a common end goal and a win-win.
Well, so now you pivoted, and I like to think we have to be on our toes all the time to pivot in this real estate game. And you knew you're okay to do that. You did it. And now what does that look like with this new Noblesville project? How are the numbers there compared to the Michigan one?
That's a great question. So the property that I ended up purchasing last year, it was a 12 unit. So I did reduce the number of doors, which from an eco perspective, I wasn't super happy with, but you got to set that aside for this. But the property in Michigan was in like what we consider a B class location. The Noblesville one is in an A class location.
So quickly explain that.
Sure. So in the investing world, well, number one, in real estate in general, we are not allowed to say an area is good or bad. It's too subjective. So kind of a way we get around that is by grading the areas A through D. A are the best areas, and the two main drivers of that classification are school ratings and crime levels. So A class areas have the best schools, lowest crime. D class areas have the worst schools, highest crime, and kind of a sliding scale in between. Okay. So I went from a decent area with decent schools to an excellent area with amazing schools. And there happens to be a lot of growth and development happening in Noblesville as well. So, and typically with A-class properties, you have a lot more stability. These are very well-known, established areas typically too. So I now own in a place that is growing. It's extremely stable. It's an affluent area as well. And it's 10 minutes from my house. So if I need to go see it, I can. Yeah.
When there's that, oh, shoot, plumbing moment, you can put your own eyes on it.
My management company does that for me, but I know what you mean. Yeah. So numbers wise, the rents are higher on a per unit basis. Again, it's a better location. the the Michigan property was all 2-bed, 1-bath units. The new property is primarily 2-bed, 1-bath. There are 2 1-bed, 1-bath units as well. So the unit breakdown is similar to a degree, but the rents are higher on a per unit basis. So although I have less units, the gross monthly revenue is somewhat similar. Purchase price was virtually identical, though. Again, you're going to pay more for an A-class property, but because I have the higher rents per unit, it sort of is a wash in that regard. This property had been renovated, about 90% of the property renovated, so relatively turnkey, only one vacancy at the time I purchased it. So very, again, stable and cash flowing from day one. But rents were about $100 to $150 under market. The previous owners, they didn't want to rattle the tree too much. Yeah, I didn't want to rock the boat that much. So they kind of just left the rents as is, but there is room to push them up. And there's also a couple other value add things that I'm doing to the property to not only, boost those rents, or at least provide justification for boosting those rents. And the reason I'm doing that, twofold. Number one, to boost the value of the property in general. And the value of the property is directly tied into the gross revenue. It's a simple math formula with commercial real estate, whereas residential real estate property is valued based on what other similar properties in the area are selling for. That's one of the things I love about commercial is that it is a simple math formula. And the more revenue you have, or let's say net revenue, the more that property is worth. So by boosting the rents, I have now boosted the value of the property. So it ties into my long-term goal with that property in 3 to 5 years. Number one, after I do these improvements and raise the rents, income will be up, and therefore the value of the property will be up. And hopefully we get a little more appreciation in the market. And with what's going on in Noblesville, I expect that. So 2 drivers to increase that value. I'll do a cash out refinance, pull that money out tax-free, by the way.
Love that.
Big thing there. And also I'm saving money by doing cost segregation study. So sort of a dual-pronged strategy with this property. So save money on my taxes with the cost seg study, and then value add and do a cash out refinance. So in about maybe 3 years or so, between the two, I'll then have a big chunk of money that I can go buy another property with.
With that cash out refi, you're not increasing any of your mortgage.
I will. It will increase the monthly. Yeah, but
if your rents are increased,
rents, yes.
So give me an example. So for your 2-bedroom in Noblesville, what's a rent for that?
So some of the units are at $1,100. I think I can get them to $1,200 or $1,250.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because especially for the 11 of the 12 units are renovated. So they've got nice laminate flooring, updated cabinets in the kitchen, updated vanity in the bathroom, granite countertops, and so on. So they're nice. They're not luxury by any means, but they are better than like a rental grade property.
So I think what's neat is that most people don't understand the commercial versus residential investments, is that with the commercial, if you can increase the rents by increasing amenities, increasing the inside, cosmetics or what have you, is that when you increase that value, you can then do the cash out refi. So it feels like some kind of free money, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is to a degree. You are increasing your loan balance, but the increased rents offset the mortgage payment there. So it covers that. But now I can take that money, go buy another property that produces a return. And that return is going to, again, potentially cover some of that discrepancy and, the increased debt that I'm now paying every month.
Love it. And I think a lot, like on a more global idea, is that, and I've dealt with a lot of boomer landlords, right? We know the boomers, love them, love the generation, but most of them, God bless, are going, I don't want to increase my rents. They've been with me for 20 years or 15 years. We hear it all the time, right? All the time, every day. You're literally losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because you don't want to increase the rents. Great. Like that is their prerogative. But when those generational boomers have to sell, and it's happening all across the board, right? All across the nation, they are selling under market rents, and people like you and investors and even companies are coming in and buying those and making the rents higher, and then enjoying the aspect of doing the cash out refi.
Oh yeah, and they are leaving some meat on the bone, I guess is the way I'd put it, for the next generation of investors to buy those, because again, the income directly correlates to the value. That's what it is based on, is that income, and the cap rate too. It's a formula there. But so you're paying less for the property, but you've got upside, and then you can benefit from that upside.
So I feel like we can talk about it all day because we love it. So if you are interested in any kind of like, what does that mean? What does upside mean? What does commercial mean? Because it seems a little scary, but really if you can buy one single family home or a duplex, you can also buy a 10 unit apartment. If the money is available as the investor, if you're ready to learn, you can call and you would handhold somebody through that process.
Absolutely. Again, especially work with someone like me who has done it and done it multiple times, not only, professionally, but personally as well. I can guide you every step of the way.
It's cool. You saw it happen so much and you did it with your clients, and now you've gotten to do it. And then I'd like to think you did it twice. You did it in Michigan, you did it in Indiana.
The first one was just a test run.
It was just to give you that a personal, oh shoot, punch in the face moment. But I love that you pivoted and it's way better for you.
Yeah, no, it's again, it was a silver lining there. At first it was very disappointing and nerve-wracking because in a 1031 exchange, you got 45 days to identify your properties that you're going to put that money into. And my clock was ticking, and it fell through a week before the deadline. And then I had to scramble and look around at what was available. But because of some networking I had done, I was in touch with multiple commercial agents, and one of them, I reached out to him and he brought that deal to me. I maintained that line of communication the whole time. And, he brought me that deal. Said, "Hey, actually, the funny thing is it had just fallen out of contract. A previous buyer who was doing a 1031, the funds they were using to buy that building, they're selling multiple properties at once, going to 1031 it to buy it as well. One of those sales fell through. So the dominoes fell. Yeah. And so they had to back out the purchase. It came back on the market. Literally, I think the day after it came back on the market, I was notified. I jumped on it immediately.
Yeah, those dominoes, one way or the other, they do give us some heartburn sometimes, don't they?
Oh, quite a bit.
And I love that, we teach and coach that like you want to invest, do it alongside with us. And we're willing to show you how to do it, and don't do it with anybody that doesn't have the experience. But what you mentioned was connections, is that between the two of us and the people that we lean on for coaching and mentorship, along with your access to bigger pockets. And it's just so neat that like we're finding ways to win through connections and through relationships.
100%. I mean, that's half of the business really is those connections you have. And working with agents like us is great because of our experience. We invest ourselves too, but you get access to all our connections as well. And the same thing happened with me, with the agent that I worked with on the purchase. I used his lender. I used his insurance agent. I used his inspector. I didn't have to go find those on my own and potentially stumble through that as well. And our clients can benefit from the exact same,
Yeah, that concierge service, like we know the easy button that you want. We could give it to you where we know you can get it.
Yes, as much as we can,
I'm just so thankful that, you were able to share this pivot, because I think success is going to be yours with this big one, and you're going to want to do even more and more.
Oh, that's the plan. I'm absolutely doing it again this year.
That's cool. So we'll have to talk about it. And how do you see the rest of this year going, knowing that like for you and Keller One's portfolio, that we've seen some massive growth since January 1, and that we have seen a lot of movement in luxury and a lot of movement in investments and pretty much everything in between. So what do you think, and what are you hearing your outlook is with your connection relationships that you're hearing overall for our real estate market?
Great question. So I think 2026 is going to be an amazing year for real estate. I think it'll be very active, more active than last year. There is some uncertainty, in the economy, and not to get political with the current administration and so on. So that is causing some hesitation in some buyers, of course. But ultimately, our market still remains extremely stable, and it's extremely affordable. And rates are decent right now.
On average, yeah.
If they come down, and depending on how much they come down, that's really going to add gasoline to the fire. If we see a point drop some point this year, I mean, it's... Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. But even where they are right now, I think is going, a lot of people are still going to be taking advantage in this market. And I mean, I think there's going to be more sellers out there. There's going to be more buyers out there. There's going to be more investors. It's going to be across the board. It's not one specific segment of the market that's going to do well. I think in general, we're just going to see a ton of activity from the cheap stuff to the high-end luxury stuff and anything and everything in between. I don't see any segment of the market stalling out. I think, again, a lot of it is because just our market is very, very affordable. You get a lot of bang for your buck here, not only on the investment side, but for the owner occupants too. Yeah. You're moving out a lot of the more expensive markets. We have a lot of great industries here, a lot of, it's a diverse set of employers here, very low unemployment, so a lot of, high quality of life and so on. So a lot of people want to move here and live here as well. And because a lot of other markets around the country and world are not very affordable, there's no cash flow. So a lot of people are turning to our market and similar markets in the Midwest as well to invest in.
Yeah. And I mean, this is one of my busiest Januaries that I'm an old lady. I can barely remember all my Januaries, but don't you feel like this was one of our busiest Januaries?
I think if I look back, at least from both a transaction standpoint and volume of those transactions, probably the best January I've had in my career.
I mean, and for us, like combined almost 40 years, that tells us that it's only going to get more ramped up as the month goes on. So if you're considering buying or selling, call us, because we have a ton of buyers that are looking to buy. We have a list of buyers who have, I want this and I can't find it, right? And when we're seeing listings coming on, if they are priced right and staged well, like that's our MO. We will not price you wrong, and we will not have a bad first impression when you go on the market. So we will launch these listings really well off, and we're getting multiple offers in January and February now. So the sign of the times is that there's pent up demand. Buyers are tired of waiting. The snow is starting to melt. And even when there was a blizzard, we were getting packed open houses.
0 degrees and a foot of snow outside. And I think one of the things that's helping contribute to the activity is finally our inventory. Our market has been softening a little bit. It's still in a seller's market for the most part, but we have increased inventory. I mean, last year, we hovered in that two months of inventory range, and we're now creeping a little over 3. And so it's a 2 to 3, it's a 50% increase in inventory. It sounds bigger than it is. It's still in seller's market territory, but there's more options here. So that's also drawing more buyers out as well.
Yeah. And, Zillow called us number 2, I think, best 2026 affordability, best place for buyers to start looking, because we have a little bit more inventory. We still are a seller's market. I love everyone saying it's a buyer's market. It is not.
Assumes that because there are a lot of other markets in the country are in buyer's market.
Yeah, but we're still feeling seller's market. Buyers, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get a deal. There are a lot of sellers who have been stale coming in from Q4, and we can pick up on that and try to get you a deal on those, whether it's investment or luxury.
Yep.
I'm seeing deals all over. I'm still seeing the 1%ers too.
Oh, there's still plenty of deals that hit or exceed that 1% mark.
So we always love to talk about it, because not everybody in the United States can hit that 1% roll in the investment land. And so last year we talked a lot about 1.5%, which we have that too. But the 1% are still here, and Peter typically has 10 or 20 a month he's trying to sell. So call him if you want to know what that means or what that's all about. But it's going to be a great year, and I'm just so thankful to have you by my side and to be helping our clients invest, and watching you pivot to this Noblesville multi-unit has just been really fun, and it's inspiring to me too.
Hey, I appreciate your support and guidance and friendship along the way as well.
So, I mean, if you guys are interested in learning about investing in multifamily, single unit, any of the above, we have the plethora to offer to you. You just got to get up here, give us a call, give Peter a call, give me a call, come in the office. We love to meet people and share what we know and what we've learned. We love our city. So stay tuned. If you have more questions, reach out, but watch us grow and watch real estate in Indy take off in 2026. You heard it here.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, everyone.